We all feel anger, not the kind that makes you want to fight for justice, but the kind that makes you want to throw your phone across the room or scream at the slowpoke in front of you. But what if I told you that anger is like putting sugar in your gas tank? It might give you a short-term boost, but you're going to crash and burn. Sena was onto something when he said that anger is like ruin. It destroys everything it touches. Today, we'll talk about why anger is a sign of weakness, not strength, and how to calm down before you lose it. In this video, we'll talk about the anger myth and why we think it makes us strong when it hurts us. How anger is like cheap gas. It burns quickly but doesn't fill you up. How to read the warning signs before you go nuclear. Some easy, useful ways to cool off. How to deal with the reasons behind your anger so you can finally find peace. It's time to get back to normal and stop letting your anger run your life. Let's take a break. Number 1. You don't need to say anything. The Zen art of the mental shrug. Okay, everyone, let's talk about something new. Not having an opinion. Yes, you heard that right. In a world where everyone has an opinion on everything, we're going to look at the radical idea that it's okay to say, I don't know, I'm not sure, or even, I don't care. Opinion overload. Let's face it, we live in a world that's full of opinions. From 24-hour news cycles to endless social media feeds, we're constantly exposed to other people's thoughts, beliefs, and judgments. It's exhausting, overwhelming, and let's be honest, it can be pretty toxic. As Epicurus said, a man can never learn what he thinks he already knows. If we're always stuck on our opinions, we close ourselves off to new information. New points of view and the chance to change our minds. Being open-minded, curious, and willing to learn is what it means to embrace the freedom of not knowing. As the Zen master Shunryu Suzuki said in The Beginner's Mind, there are many possibilities but few answers. So how do we develop this beginner's mind and embrace the freedom of not knowing? 1. Question everything. Don't just take things at face value. Question the information you receive, the sources you rely on, and your own biases and assumptions. As the philosopher Socrates famously said, the unexamined life is not worth living. 2. Accept uncertainty. Life is full of uncertainty. We don't know what the future holds, and we can't control everything that happens to us. By accepting uncertainty, we can learn to let go of the need to control and find peace in the present moment. 3. Look for different points of view. Don't just hang out with people who agree with you. Look for different points of view. Talk to people with respect and be willing to change your mind. As the saying goes, the only way to understand someone is to put yourself in their place. 4. Work on being humble. Accept that you don't know everything. It's okay to say you're wrong. Learn from your mistakes and be open to changing your mind when new knowledge comes your way. Examples from real life. Let's look at how this idea is used in real life. During the political discussion, instead of getting angry with someone who has different political views, try to see things from their point of view. Talk to people. When people talk about things around the water cooler, don't add your own opinion. Just listen and observe. You don't have to have an opinion on everything. When people post on social media, before you post that mean comment or funny reply, ask yourself if it's really necessary and will it add anything to the conversation. If not, just scroll on down to the bottom line. It's not a sign of weakness or indecision to not have an opinion. It's a sign of intellectual humility, an open mind, and a desire to learn. When we accept the freedom of not knowing, we open ourselves up to new options. We gain new perspectives and a better understanding of the world around us. As the philosopher Bertrand Russell put it, The problem with the world is that fools and fanatics are always sure of themselves, while smarter people are always doubting themselves. Number 2. Getting angry is not good for you. Let's talk about anger, not the good kind that changes society or makes us stand up for what's right. We're talking about anger that simmers below the surface and leads to hasty choices, harmful words and actions we later feel bad about. We're talking about anger that's like bad gas for your car. It might get you going for a while, but it will eventually break down. The anger illusion. Anger often looks like strength. We think it gives us control and the upper hand, but it's really a sign of weakness. Anger is when we give in to our baser instincts and let them cloud our judgment. As the philosopher Seneca said, anger is like ruin. It destroys everything it carries. In other words, anger hurts us too. It hurts our relationships, our health, our happiness, and our peace of mind. Also, keep the fuel efficiency problem in mind. Anger is like cheap fuel. It burns quickly and hot, but it doesn't give us long-term power or energy. It only works for a short time and wears us out. Think about it this way. When you're mad, your body goes into fight or flight mode. Your blood pressure goes up when your heart rate goes up. Your stress levels go through the roof. This might give you a short-term boost of energy, but it won't last. It's like pushing your engine to the red line. Eventually, something will give. So how do we switch to a higher octane fuel and avoid anger burnout? One way is to learn to spot the warning signs. Getting angry doesn't happen all of a sudden. It builds up over time, like steam in a pressure cooker. Learn how to spot the red flags, the pain in your chest, the tightening of your jaw, and the fast-moving thoughts. If you know what the warning signs are, you can take steps to calm things down before they get out of hand. When you're angry, calm down. As you rise, take a step back, go for a walk, listen to relaxing music, or do deep breathing techniques. Wait until you're calmed down before you say or do something you'll blame yourself for. 3. Take care of the cause. Anger is often a sign of something more serious, like hurt, fear, frustration, or unfair treatment. Stop and think about what's really making you mad, then deal with the cause of your anger. This could mean writing in a diary, talking to a therapist, or just being honest with yourself. 4. Find healthy stores. To get rid of anger, you need to show it in a healthy way. One way is to do creative activities or talk to a trusted friend or family member. 5. Learn to forgive others. Keeping your anger inside is like giving someone poison and expecting them to die. Forgiving someone doesn't mean you agree with what they did. It means you let go of your anger and bitterness. Examples from real life. Let us look at how this idea is used in real life. Road rage renegade. Instead of getting mad at the driver who cut you off, take a deep breath and let it go. Remember that your anger won't change their behavior, but it will ruin your day. Day 2. If your boss or co-worker says something that makes you angry, don't send them an angry email. Instead, take a break, calm down, and then talk about the problem in a professional way. The Family Feud fighter should try to see things from the other person's point of view, instead of making things worse when they disagree with them, and should listen to what they have to say. Talk about how you feel and work together to solve the problem. In short, as you can see, anger is bad fuel. It may give you a short-term boost, but it will eventually lead to a breakdown. Taking care of the root cause while cooling down, you can let go of your anger and live a more peaceful, happy and fulfilling life by finding healthy ways to express it and forgiving others. As the Buddha said, holding on to anger is like grabbing a hot coal to throw it at someone else. You get burned. Number 3. Hero or zero, your moral compass in a crazy world. Okay, let's talk about what it means to be a good person. Not the kind of good that makes you work at the soup kitchen once a year, but the kind of good that comes from deep inside and guides your actions. What you do and how it affects the world, the hero and the evil spectrum. We all like to think of ourselves as heroes, but let's be honest, we all have a bit of Nero in us, that impulsive, self-centered me-first part of our personality that can lead us down some pretty dark paths. As the philosopher Plato said, good actions make us strong and inspire good actions in others. But what about bad actions? They weaken us and encourage bad actions in others. How do we find our way through this hero versus villain spectrum and make decisions that are in line with our highest values? You should know what your core ideals are. What kind of person do you want to be? What kind of effect do you want to have on the world? Think about these questions and write down your answers. This is your moral guide that will help you figure out what to do in tough situations. These 2 questions, your beliefs. We all have weak spots and biases. Even if we think we're doing what's best for others, what we do might be hurting them. Be ready to question what you think you know. Find different points of view and think about how your decisions might affect other people. 3. Improve empathy. Empathy is being able to understand and share someone else's feelings. It's the key to caring, kindness, and making moral choices. When we put ourselves in someone else's shoes, we're less likely to do things that hurt them. 4. Show moral strength. It's not always easy to do the right thing, especially when it's not popular or convenient. But moral courage means being willing to stand up for what you believe in, even when it's hard. As the philosopher Aristotle said, courage is the first human quality because it's your moral compass in a crazy world. Okay, let's talk about what it means to be a good person. Not the kind of good that makes you work at the soup kitchen once a year, but the kind of good that comes from deep inside and guides your actions. What you do and how it affects the world, the hero and the evil spectrum. We all like to think of ourselves as heroes, but let's be honest, we all have a bit of Nero in us, that impulsive, self-centered, me-first part of our personality that can lead us down some pretty dark paths. As the philosopher Plato said, good actions make us strong and inspire good actions in others. But what about bad actions? They weaken us and encourage bad actions in others. How do we find our way through this hero versus villain spectrum and make decisions that are in line with our highest values? You should know what your core ideals are. What kind of person do you want to be? What kind of effect do you want to have on the world? Think about these questions and write down your answers. This is your moral guide that will help you figure out what to do in tough situations. These 2 questions, your beliefs. We all have weak spots and biases. Even if we think we're doing what's best for others, what we do might be hurting them. Be ready to question what you think you know. Find different points of view and think about how your decisions might affect other people. 3. Improve empathy. Empathy is being able to understand and share someone else's feelings. It's the key to caring, kindness, and making moral choices. When we put ourselves in someone else's shoes, we're less likely to do things that hurt them. 4. Show moral strength. It's not always easy to do the right thing, especially when it's not popular or convenient. But moral courage means being willing to stand up for what you believe in, even when it's hard. As the philosopher Aristotle said, courage is the first human quality because it ensures all the others. 5. Look for knowledge. We don't know everything. Look for advice from mentors, teachers, spiritual leaders, and the great works of literature and thought. By learning from the experiences of others, we can improve our morals and ethics. Examples from real life. Let's look at how this idea is used in everyday life. A whistleblower is someone who risks their job and image to report wrongdoing in their company. They do the right thing, even though it may be hard or even dangerous. As an environmental activist, you fight to protect the planet, even if it means going up against big businesses and governments. They put the health of the planet and future generations ahead of short-term income and ease of life. The average hero. You can be a hero even if you don't blow the whistle or fight for justice. People who stand up to bullies, help those in need, and speak out against injustice are daily heroes. They make the world a better place. One small act of kindness at a time. In the end, we can all be heroes or Nero. The choice is ours. To make that choice, we need to know ourselves and question what we think we know. Getting better at kindness. By having moral courage and seeking wisdom, we can make decisions that are in line with our highest values and help make the world a better place. As the philosopher Immanuel Kant said, act in such a way that you treat humanity, whether in the person of yourself or of anyone else, never merely as a means to an end, but always at the same time as an end. Number 4, keep your peace of mind safe, your fortress of peace. No need for a cape. Let's talk about something important, your peace of mind. We all want to feel calm, balanced and at peace, but it's hard to keep up. It's like a delicate flower that needs to be cared for and shielded from the harsh elements of modern life. Let's face it, the modern world is a chaotic place. We're constantly connected, stimulated and on the go, so it's no surprise that our peace of mind is under attack. As the philosopher Seneca said, it's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. This means we have enough time to find peace, but we waste it on things that don't matter. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Epicurus knew how important it was to keep one's peace of mind. They saw it as a fortress of solitude, a safe place away from the chaos of the world. As Marcus Aurelius put it, nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. So how do we build our own fortress of solitude and keep our peace of mind safe in the midst of chaos? One set of rules. Don't let other people change your schedule, your goals, or your values. It's said that you can't pour from an empty cup, so learn to say no to things that don't serve you and make room for things that do. 2. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of noticing the present moment without judging it. By practicing being mindful, we can become more aware of our feelings and thoughts, and we can learn to let go of the stresses and fears that keep us from being at peace. 3. Practice being thankful. Gratitude is the antidote to sadness. When we think about what we have, not what we don't have, we focus on the wealth that already exists in our lives. As the saying goes, what you appreciate, appreciates. 4. Spend time in nature. Nature has been shown to calm the mind and body. Take a walk in the park, go for a hike in the woods, or just sit outside and enjoy the sun. As the naturalist John Moo said, in every walk with nature, one receives far more than he seeks. 5. Disconnect from technology. Our phones, computers and tablets are always trying to get our attention. Take breaks from technology to recharge your batteries, reconnect with yourself, and find peace in the real world. Examples from real life. Let's look at how this idea is used in everyday life. The Digital Rehab Center. A digital detox vacation where people don't use any technology for a few days or weeks can help a lot of people get their peace of mind back. The practice of meditation in the morning. Beginning your day with a few minutes of meditation can help you feel calm and set a good mood for the day. The nature therapy walk. A lot of therapists and counselors say that spending time in nature can help with stress, anxiety, and sadness. In short, setting limits for your mental, emotional, and physical health is not a luxury. It's a must if you want to protect your peace of mind. Developing thanks by practicing mindfulness. You can make your own fortress of solitude by disconnecting from technology and connecting with nature. This will protect you from the chaos of the world and help you live a more peaceful, joyful, and fulfilling life. As the philosopher Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. Number 5. Good times can turn into punishments. The bad side of the dopamine rush. Let's talk about pleasure, not the kind that comes from a good book or a hug. We're talking about the intense, addicting kind of pleasure that can quickly turn into a prison. We're talking about the dopamine hits that make us want more, giving up our long-term health for short-term pleasure. Makes the joy trap jump. Pleasure is a strong drive that makes us eat, drink, have sex, and look for new experiences. But pleasure can also be a trap. If we focus too much on following pleasure, we can lose sight of what's important and become hooked on the dopamine it releases. If we rush our health, relationships, and values in search of short-lived highs, as the philosopher Epicurus said, not what we have, but what we enjoy constitutes our abundance. But he also warned of the dangers of overindulgence, saying that nothing is enough for the man to whom enough is too little. The hedonic treadmill. The hedonic treadmill is a psychological term for how quickly we get used to new levels of pleasure. When we experience something pleasurable, our brains release dopamine, a neurotransmitter linked to motivation and reward. But the more we experience that pleasure, the less dopamine our brains release, and the less pleasure we feel. This makes us look for even more intense or new experiences to try to get that initial high. As a result, we end up chasing a moving target, always looking for more pleasure, but never really finding lasting satisfaction. The cost of pleasure. Some things that give you pleasure can cost you a lot. If you drink too much, smoke, or do other bad things, you could become addicted and have health problems. It can ruin our finances and relationships, and it can also make us feel empty and unhappy when we realize that the short-lived highs we seek are not enough to fill the void inside us. As the philosopher Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living, and we could say the same thing about the unexamined pleasure is not worth pursuing. So how do we escape the pleasure trap and find a more lasting way to be happy? 1. Indulgence with care. Enjoy yourself, but be aware of it. Enjoy the experience. Enjoy the present time and pay attention to your senses. Don't let joy turn into a mindless habit or an uncontrollable need. 2. Spread out your joys. Don't depend on one thing to make you happy. Try out different things to do. Find activities and hobbies that make you happy. This will help you stay off the hedonic grind and be happier for longer. 3. Make meaningful tasks your top priority. Don't just chase after short-lived pleasures. Instead, focus on things that give you a feeling of purpose, fulfillment, and meaning. This could mean doing things like spending time with loved ones, following your dreams, or helping others in your neighborhood. 4. Work out thank you. Take time every day to be thankful for the good things in your life. Being thankful can help you stop focusing on what you don't have and start focusing on what you do have plenty of. 5. Get help if you need it. If you're having trouble with addiction or compulsive habits, don't be afraid to get help from a therapist, counselor, or support group. Examples from real life. Let's look at how this idea is used in real life. The person who is addicted to food learns to enjoy each bite, pay attention to their body's sign of hunger and fullness, and choose foods that are good for them. Soul the social media addict instead of just looking through social media, no matter what. The social media addict limits their time in front of the screen, unfollows accounts that make them feel bad, and does more important things. At work, the workaholic learns to put their health, relationships, and personal well-being first, instead of working long hours to get a raise or a bigger paycheck. In the end, pleasure is a gift, but it can also be a curse. To avoid this, practice mindful indulgence by balancing your pleasures and putting important activities first. By being thankful and asking for help when you need it, you can escape the pleasure trap and build a life full of joy, meaning, and fulfillment. As the philosopher Aristotle said, happiness depends upon ourselves. Number 6. Think before you act. You can avoid doing stupid things by following this guide. Now, let's talk about impulse control. No, we're not talking about not eating that extra pizza, though that's also a useful skill. We're talking about being able to stop, think, and make choices instead of reacting without thinking every time something happens. We're talking about the difference between being a hothead and a cool cucumber, between making snap decisions and careful ones. The impulsive brain. Our brains are wired for survival, not always for making smart choices. When we face a threat or an opportunity, our amygdala, the emotional center of the brain, takes over, setting off a fight or flight response. In times of life or death, this can help, but it can also make us make snap decisions that we later regret. As the philosopher Aristotle said, anyone can get angry. It's easy to get angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way. So how do we train our brains to think before they act, to respond instead of react, and to make decisions that are in line with our values and goals? When you feel an impulse rising, press the stop button, take a deep breath, count to 10, or walk away from the situation. This will give your prefrontal cortex, which is the rational center of your brain, a chance to catch up and look at the situation more objectively. 2. The question mark. Think about what the facts are. What do I have to do? What are the possible outcomes of each choice? What would be the smartest and kindest thing to do? By asking these questions, you can get past your first emotional response and make a choice that is based on more information. 3. Think about what you're going to do before you do it when you're feeling low on stack, like when you want to buy something without thought. Wait 24 hours before making a choice. If you're about to send an angry email, save it as a draft and come back to it when you're less angry. 4. The muscle of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the act of focusing on the present moment without judging it. Training your mind to be more mindful can help you understand your urges better and decide how to handle them. Get help and advice from teachers, therapists, or spiritual leaders. They can give you advice and support. Learn from their mistakes and experiences. Examples from real life. Let's look at how this idea is used in real life. The fight on the road. Instead of yelling at the driver who cut you off, take a deep breath and remind yourself that it's not worth getting into an accident over a heated argument. If you and your partner are having a heated argument, take a break to calm down and come back to the conversation when you're both more level-headed. The spontaneous buy. Before you click buy now, ask yourself if you really need that thing. Will it bring you lasting happiness or just a short-lived high? In short, you have to work at thinking things through before you act, but it's a skill that can save you a lot of heartache, guilt, and drama that you don't need. By learning to take a break, think about what you want and make a choice. According to philosopher Viktor Frankl, there is a space between the stimulus and the response. That space gives us the power to choose our answer, and our response is where our growth and freedom lie. Number 7. Just Bad Dreams. Your mind's midnight movie marathon and how to change the channel. Okay, folks, let's talk about those annoying things called dreams. No, not the Martin Luther King Jr. kind, though those are important too. We're talking about the crazy, scary, and sometimes even ridiculous images that play out in our heads while we sleep. The ones that make us wake up in a cold sweat wondering if we're going crazy. The Dream Factory. While we sleep, our brains are like little movie studios making up strange stories and images. Sometimes these dreams are pleasant, even fantastical, but other times they're full of worry, fear, and even outright terror. As the philosopher Aristotle said, "When one is asleep, there is something in consciousness which declares that what then presents itself is but a dream." Even though we know it's not real while we're dreaming, it doesn't make the experience any less intense or unsettling. So what's the deal with bad dreams? More importantly, how can we turn those fears into sweet dreams, or at least ones that aren't so scary? The stress link in the Dream Decoder one. A lot of the time, bad dreams are a mirror of our worries and stresses in real life. For example, if you're having a hard time at work, in a relationship, or going through a big change in your life, your dreams might be your brain's way of dealing with those feelings. 2. The mind that is not aware. There's also a chance that dreams can show us things about our inner mind that we might not be aware of when we're awake. As the psychologist Carl Jung said, dreams are the guiding words of the soul. 3. The creative muse. Bad dreams can sometimes give us creative ideas, new ways of looking at things, and even ways to solve problems. As the artist Salvador Dali said, "Give me 2 hours a day of activity and I'll take the other 22 in dreams." Taking charge of your dreams. 1. Keep a dream book next to your bed and write down your dreams as soon as you wake up. This can help you find patterns, themes, and symbols that may have something to do with your real life. When you wake up from a bad dream, remind yourself that it was only a dream and that it doesn't affect you in any way. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you that counts, but how you react to it." 3. The change. As the saying goes, every cloud has a silver lining. Try to see your bad dreams in a more positive light. Can you find any secret meanings or insights? Could you turn your nightmare into a creative project? 4. Do something relaxing before bed, like reading, taking a warm bath, or listening to soothing music. This can help you calm down and get ready for a better night's sleep. Examples from real life. Let's look at how this idea is used in real life. The kid who was stressed out. If a student is worried about an upcoming test, they might have bad dreams about failing or not being ready. If they realize that their worry is linked to their dreams, they can take steps to deal with their anxiety and sleep better. The widow who was sad. A widow who is grieving the death of her husband might dream about him. These dreams can help her deal with her grief, connect with her husband again, and find peace. A creative writer who is having trouble writing might have a strange dream that gives them an idea for a new story. By using the dream as a source of motivation, they can get past their creative block and make a masterpiece. In the end, dreams are a strange and interesting part of being human. Bad dreams can be scary, but you don't have to let them control you. We can turn our nightmares into forms of insight, creativity, and even healing if we understand what they mean, change how we see things, and take steps to improve our sleep. As the poet Langston Hughes said, "Hold on to your dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly." Number 8. don't hold things back more than they need to be. Let's have a heart-to-heart about overcomplicating things. We're not just talking about things like putting together IKEA furniture or figuring out your cable bill, though those can be really confusing. We're talking about the way we tend to make our lives harder than they need to be, to make problems where none exist, and to turn molehills into mountains. We all have a little drama llama inside us, that part of us that loves to overthink, blow things out of proportion, and make things more difficult than they need to be. It's the voice in our heads that says, "What if this goes wrong? What if that doesn't work out? What if I'm not good enough?" As the philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "Our life is what our thoughts make it." This means that our beliefs and thoughts make our reality, and if we're always thinking about problems and difficulties, that's exactly what we'll find. The answer to simplicity. The ancient Stoics had a simple answer: don't make things harder than they need to be. They thought that we should focus on what we can control, accept what we can't, and live in harmony with nature, as Epictetus put it. The most important thing in life is to separate things so that I can tell myself which ones are outside of my control and which ones are related to the choices I make. So how do we tame our inner drama llama and embrace a simpler, more peaceful way of life? One way is to figure out what's really going on. You tend to make things too hard for yourself because you're afraid, insecure, or need to be in charge. Once you figure out why you do this, you can start to fix it. 2 things that will make you think. Are your beliefs and thoughts based on fact, or are they just stories you're telling yourself? Question your beliefs and look for proof to back them up or show they are wrong. 3. Focus on the present moment. When we think about the past or the future, we make things more complicated than they need to be. By focusing on the present moment, we can make our lives easier and find more peace. Okay with that. There's no need for everything to be ideal. Learn to deal with flaws, setbacks, and problems that come up in life. As the Serenity Prayer says, "Grant me the peace to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference." 5. Look easy living. As a minimalist writer, you should try to make your life easier in every way. Get rid of unnecessary things, organize your time, and put the things that are most important to you at the top of your list. In the words of Francine J., "My goal is no longer to get more done, but to have less to do." Let's look at how this idea is used in real life. The overthinker learns to trust their gut, make a choice, and move on. The perfectionist learns to stop trying to be perfect and just be themselves. To perfection, the perfectionist learns to accept flaws and enjoy growth instead of perfection. People who are chronic worriers learn to focus on the present and change the things they can control instead of thinking about the things they can't change. If you don't want to make your life harder than it needs to be, figure out why you're making things too confusing. A tendency, putting your ideas to the test, being aware of the present moment. As the philosopher Lao said, simplicity, patience, and compassion are your greatest treasures. If you practice acceptance and seek simplicity, you can make your life more peaceful, joyful, and rewarding. Number 9. The enemy of happiness. No, it's not what you think, and it's probably right in front of you. Let's talk about happiness, really. Happiness, not the "I'm living my best life" kind of happiness that you see on Instagram, the kind that makes life worth living. And while we're at it, let's talk about the enemy of happiness, that sneaky little sabur that's waiting to steal your joy. The joy. Our desire to be happy is like a dream in the desert. We chase it like a lost sheep. Even if you have the perfect body, the perfect relationship, and the perfect life, happiness isn't a place you get to. It's a state of mind. and it's not outside events that get in the way of your happiness. Seneca, a philosopher, said that we are more often scared than hurt, and that we suffer more in our minds than in real life. In other words, our thoughts, beliefs, and hopes cause our own pain. The joy thief. What's the worst thing that can happen to happiness? It's not a fail, not being turned down. It's not even a tragedy. Compare it to we compare ourselves to others, to our idealized versions of ourselves, and to the highlight reels we see on social media. We focus on what we don't have, what we haven't accomplished, and what we're not good enough at. In doing so, we rob ourselves of the joy and contentment that are right here, right now. As Theodore Roosevelt said, comparison is the thief of joy. 1. Be thankful for what you have instead of what you don't have. Every day, take time to appreciate your health, family, friends, skills, and experiences. As the saying goes, what you appreciate grows. 2. Be mindful and present in the present moment. Pay attention to your body, your senses, and what you're feeling inside. It's less likely that you'll fall into the comparison trap when you're fully present. 3. Kindness to yourself. Do not punish yourself for your flaws or mistakes. Instead, be kind and patient to yourself. Remember that you are human and that everyone makes mistakes. As the Buddha said, you deserve love and respect just as much as everyone else. Pay attention to your own path. Everybody has a unique road, so don't compare your first chapter to someone else's 20th. It is said that the only person you should try to be better than is yourself yesterday. So focus on your own journey, your own goals, and your own growth. Examples from real life. Let's look at how this idea is used in real life with the social media scroller. Social media addicts. Take a break from Instagram and think about your own life. What are you thankful for? What are you proud of? What are you working toward? Career climber. Instead of constantly comparing yourself to your coworkers and feeling like you're not moving up fast enough, think about your own career goals and what you need to do to reach them. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small they may seem. If you're a perfectionist, you should beat yourself up for not being perfect. Kindness to yourself. Accept your flaws and mistakes as part of what makes you human. Focus on your growth and strengths instead of your flaws. In short, comparison takes away our joy and makes us unhappy. Being thankful can help us feel better about ourselves and give us peace of mind. By practicing mindfulness, self-compassion, and focusing on our own journey, we can escape the trap of comparison and live a happier, more fulfilling life. As the philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "To be yourself in a world that is always trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment." Number 10. Prepare for the storm. Your mental armor against the storms of life. Okay, everyone, let's talk about storms. Not the kind with thunder and lightning, though those can be pretty bad. We're talking about the storms of life, the setbacks and problems. Those sudden turns of events that can throw us off and make us feel lost and confused, the illusion of calm seas. We all want life to be easy, without problems, pain or doubt, but in reality, it's more like a rough ocean than a calm lake. There will always be storms, big and small, and if we're not ready, they can flip our boats over and leave us adrift. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca said, fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling. Going along. The reluctant means that we can either face the problems that life brings us or fight them and deal with the results. The tough guy's survival kit Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus were experts at getting through life's storms. They came up with a philosophy that stressed preparation, resilience, and acceptance. They knew that we can't change the weather, but we can change how we prepare for it and how we react to it. So how can we weatherproof our lives and get ready for the storms that will inevitably come our way? 1. Build a strong foundation based on values, principles, and a sense of purpose. When you know what you stand for and what's important to you, you're less likely to be swayed by the winds of change. As the philosopher Immanuel Kant said, treat humanity, whether in yourself or in anyone else, never merely as a means to an end, but always at the same time as an end. 2. Become resilient. Being resilient means being able to get back on your feet after problems and failures. As the saying goes, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's about learning from our mistakes, adapting to new situations, and finding strength in hard times. 3. Get used to accepting things as they are. We can't change everything that happens to us, but we can change how we react to it. When we accept the things we can't change, we free ourselves from needless pain and let new options come into our lives. Thank you for your prayer. May you have the peace to accept the things you can't change, the strength to change the things you can, and the knowledge to know the difference. 4. Learn to be thankful. When we think about what we're thankful for, we stop focusing on what we don't have and start focusing on the good things that already exist in our lives. As the saying goes, what you appreciate, appreciates. 5. Get help. You don't have to go through the rough times by yourself. Talk to friends, family, mentors, or therapists for support. Talking to someone you trust can help you work through your feelings, see things more clearly, and find answers to your problems. Examples from real life. Let's look at how this idea is used in real life. The person who was laid off doesn't freak out. Instead, they update their resume, make new contacts, and start looking for new jobs. They see this loss as a chance to change careers and follow their dreams. What a mom goes through when their child dies. The parent in grief goes to therapy, joins a support group, and finds comfort in their religion or spirituality. They learn how to deal with their loss, what their child's memory means to them, what happened in nature. Survivor doesn't give up hope after a natural disaster destroys their home. They rebuild their lives, their communities, and their spirits. They find strength in being able to bounce back from setbacks and adjust to new situations. In the end, life is full of storms, but if we get ready and have help, we can handle any storm that comes our way by building a strong foundation. Getting stronger by learning acceptance. By practicing gratitude and asking for help, we can come out of the storms stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. As the philosopher Nair said, what does not kill us makes us stronger. So the next time you feel angry, remember that it's not strength that's coming out, but weakness. Anger is bad fuel that will wreck your engine, but you have the tools to calm down, deal with the problems at their source, and find peace. Now I want to know what your go-to method is for controlling your anger. Feel free to share this video in the comments and help each other out. If you liked it, please subscribe to my channel and let's keep the talk going. Remember that a calm mind is a strong mind.